Well, I'm not sure that I can easily answer why questions like that.
Okay.
Could it happen? Yes, it could. Why it doesn't, I think you've actually got two communities at work here that strongly influence each other. One is the business community and the other is the political world. And obviously the business community has strong influence through lobbying and election contributions and so on. And the business community's problem is their time horizon is 1 quarter at a time. That's how corporations work. We've got to make our results for this quarter because we have to send our reports into the stock market and our stock price goes up or down depending on that quarter. So it's almost impossible for a modern corporation to plan 20 years out. Political problem is similar in this country because we're a democracy. We run in 2 or 4 year election cycles. So your representative in Congress has 2 years until he's going to get elected again. He will be thinking what is best, what will give the biggest bang in these 2 years. The senator has 6 years, but even so he's still spending half his time running for re-election. And 6 years is nothing when we talk about problems like this. I have a friend I used to work with, Cal DeWitt, who many of your viewers will know as a very, very important leader of the Christian environmental stewardship movement started in the 80s, 90s, and so on. He's still active today. He had a strong influence over planning in his small town outside of Madison, Wisconsin. He even became chairman of the town for a while, town of Dunn. Cal went in saying, and I think the town still holds to this principle today, we want to create a plan for the next 400 years. Not the next quarter, not the next 2 years, not even the next 30 years, which is what most communities might plan for. But we want to plan for the next 400 years, what we want our town to look like, and then make today's plans accordingly. That was very courageous. It was a small town, and he was able to persuade enough people to go along with it. But for most political leaders, most communities, and most corporations, and especially when they interact with each other, we don't have a long enough time horizon to think in terms that we need to. It can happen, and we hope it will happen. Whether it happens is another question. We were sharing before, I've been reading some books recently, and one in particular by a guy named James Speth, S-P-E-T-H, is called The Bridge at the End of the Road, or The Bridge at the End of the World, excuse me, where he's talking about the end of capitalism and the need to come up with a new system. And one of the things he says, and he cites any number of authorities on this, is that capitalism is producing problems that it's not capable of solving. And he would go back to the same short time horizon thing. And the fact that a manager of a company today, especially a publicly traded company, is bound by law to increase shareholder value in this fiscal year. He cannot reduce value this year, even though he knows that that might dramatically increase value in 20 years. He can't do it. Legally, he can't do it. And if he doesn't do it, he can be sued by his shareholders. That's the heart of one of the problems we're dealing with.